The machine screamed. Lights flickered across the alien lab as warning glyphs burned red across the monitors. The containment field trembled, and something inside the pod began to breathe. Slow, deep, controlled. Dr. Qua froze where he stood, every tendril on the back of his neck rigid with fear. He had run this test 12 times, each failure logged and explained away as incompatible bioform. But this time, the machine wasn't failing. It was overloading. Inside the glass pod sat a human, Captain Aric Voss, battered, half-conscious, and surrounded by a haze of blue light. The readings didn't make sense. Qua hissed to his assistant, "Run the genome comparison again." The younger Vry scientist obeyed, claws tapping furiously against the console. The results flashed, blinking 3 times before the words appeared. Error, multiple apex species detected. The assistant turned pale. "Sir, the system." "I know what it says." Qua snapped. "Run it again." They did. 3 more times. The result never changed. The human opened one eye and smiled faintly through the glass. "Something wrong, Doc." Qua stumbled back. The human shouldn't even be conscious. They'd sedated him with enough supper gas to knock out a Phyrexian war beast. And yet there he sat, calm, awake, amused. "You're not supposed to be awake," Qua whispered. Voss shrugged inside the containment field. "You're not supposed to poke things you don't understand." The machine pulsed again, louder this time, its energy readings climbing past safe limits. The lights dimmed, shadows crawling along the floor like living ink. "Shut it down." Qua barked, but the human raised a hand. Too late for that. The scanner's lens shattered. A shockwave rippled across the lab, flinging consoles and glass in every direction. When the light cleared, Voss stood among the wreckage, not dead, not burned, but perfectly fine. He looked around, stretching his arms, flexing his fingers. "You wanted to see what we're made of," he said softly. "Now you do." Qua's mind raced. Every species they'd ever studied had a predictable genome, fixed traits, stable sequences. The human's DNA, on the other hand, was a storm. Patterns overlapped, rewriting themselves. Predator signatures from 12 evolutionary lines merged and shifted like liquid fire. "Impossible," he whispered. "You can't carry this much code." Voss glanced at him. "Maybe we don't carry it. Maybe it carries us." Outside the lab, the observation deck buzzed with panic. The Vryth guards shouted over each other in their native tongue, demanding containment reinforcements. None dared approach the human, though not after what happened on Theron 9, when one human outlasted an entire platoon by sheer will and made sure the story spread. Captain Aric Voss wasn't a soldier by design anymore. He was a symbol, the kind the galaxy didn't know how to deal with. The alien guards finally advanced, rifles humming with electric charge. "Captain Aric Voss," Qua called out, trying to mask his fear. "You are in violation of Vry's security protocol. You will surrender and cooperate for study." Voss tilted his head, smirking. "Study? You've already done that." He gestured toward the smoking ruins of the scanner. "Looks like I failed your test." The commander hissed, "No, you broke it." "Then maybe," Voss said, stepping closer, "you were testing the wrong thing." The soldiers fired, the air filled with streaks of plasma. Voss moved, not fast, impossibly fast. The beams bent as if deflected by something unseen, each bolt scattering into harmless light. His hand caught one rifle midair, turning it aside before it fired again. The commander stumbled backward. His adapting. The data said humans couldn't. The data, Voss interrupted, his voice low, was written by people who thought they understood us. He dropped the weapon. It hit the floor with a heavy metallic clang. The hum of the machine faded, replaced by silence. Qua watched him, this human, this anomaly, standing calmly in the center of chaos. Every reading, every biological scan, every metric screamed impossible. He took a hesitant step forward. "Tell me, what are you?" Voss smiled faintly. "That depends on who's asking." "I am asking as a scientist," Qua said. "What species are you truly?" Voss's gaze hardened. "All of them." The alien blinked. "That's not." "Everyone that fought to live," Voss continued, his voice low and steady. "Every creature that clawed its way through extinction. You wanted to know why we survive everything you throw at us? It's because we remember what it takes." Qua stayed, realization dawning. "You carry the instinct of predators." "Not predators," Voss corrected. "Survivors." He turned away, walking toward the ruined doors. Sparks rained from the ceiling. "You'll write this down," he said. "You'll make your report. You'll tell the galaxy you found something you can't categorize. And then—" Qua asked. Voss paused at the threshold. "Then you'll start to wonder what else we're hiding." When the alarms began to wail again, Qua thought it was from the damage, but the reading said otherwise. Energy levels were climbing, not from the human, but from every scanner in the lab. Data streams flashed with the same error message over and over. Multiple apex species detected. Origin untraceable. Spreading. The containment systems began replicating the sequence, the human's DNA code, across the station network, embedding itself in every system it touched. Qua looked up at Voss, who was already stepping into the corridor. "What did you do?" he whispered. Voss gave him one last look, part grin, part warning. "Maybe it's not me you should be afraid of," he said. "Maybe it's what's waking up." The alarms hadn't stopped. Red lights pulsed across the alien corridors as containment shutters slammed down one by one. The hum of failing power systems echoed through Xerix Prime's metal bones. The air smelled of ozone and fear. Captain Aric Voss walked calmly down the smoke-filled hallway, boots echoing in rhythm with the emergency klaxons. His armor was scorched, cracked, and glowing faintly blue beneath the seams. Behind him, terrified scientists shouted into comms, their voices trembling. "Containment breach in Section 9. The human genetic field is expanding. It's rewriting our systems." Voss didn't need to hear them to know what was happening. He could feel it. Every step he took, the floor panels hummed, the walls shuddered, and alien script flickered into English for a moment before correcting itself. His DNA wasn't just alive, it was communicating. "Damn," he muttered. "Guess we're past first contact now." In the command center, Dr. Qua clutched his datapad as the readouts turned to static. "The human's genome is resonating with the station's neural grid," he said, voice cracking. "It's learning our systems, adapting to them." One of the guards, taller, armored, and more alien than most, bared its fangs. "Then purge him before he learns too much." Qua snapped. "You don't purge a supernova, you run." But even as he said it, he knew it was too late. Voss had reached the core level. The central reactor chamber was vast, a cathedral of light and machinery. At its center pulsed the Xylan core, a living fusion reactor designed to power an entire city. Its tendrils of plasma curved like angelic wings. Voss stepped closer, eyes narrowing as he felt something deep inside him stir, like a forgotten memory surfacing. He raised his hand. The glowing lines along his arm brightened. "Talk to me," he whispered. The core answered. A pulse of blue energy surged through the air, rattling the entire station. Voss staggered back, clutching his head as images exploded in his mind. Not his memories, but others. Ancient Earth, stone tools, spears, fire, Lions hunting at dawn, wolves running under frozen moons. Humanity's ancestors, every survivor that ever clawed through extinction. They weren't ghosts. They were data, encoded memories written into DNA, the ultimate backup drive of evolution itself. Voss dropped to his knees, gasping. We didn't just evolve, we archived ourselves. The reactor's voice echoed in his skull, deep, synthetic, almost reverent. You are the convergence of survival. You are not one species. You are the legacy of all. Above him, the blast doors opened. Qua entered, flanked by 2 guards aiming plasma rifles. Step away from the core, human, he shouted. Whatever you are, you're endangering every system on this station. Voss stood slowly, his gaze calm. You ever wonder why we survive what should kill us? Why your scanners cause errors? Qua hesitated. Because your genome is corrupted. Voss smirked. No, Doctor, it's complete. He raised his hand, and the floor beneath him pulsed with energy. The guards fired, but the bolts bent midday, curving harmlessly away before striking the walls. Qua's jaw trembled. You're controlling the field. Voss took a step forward. Not controlling. Syncing. Your machines run on biological patterns. Neural logic. We invented that once, when we taught fire to burn hotter, when we learned to make the universe speak. The alien scientist lowered his weapon. You're saying your kind created the first adapted technology. Voss shrugged. Maybe not this version, but the principle? Life adapting to survive? Yeah, that was our first language. The reactor pulsed again, brighter now, so bright it cast shadows like living things. Qua flinched. What's happening? Voss's eyes glowed faintly. It's copying the code. From me. You're fusing with it. Not me, he said quietly. Us. The light intensified. The metal around them began to warp and shift, reshaping itself into organic curves. The once sterile walls turned translucent, humming with veins of blue light. The ship itself was changing. The guards screamed as their weapons melted into their hands, transforming into biometal vines that coiled and fell away. Qua stumbled back. You're rewriting matter. This is impossible. Everything's impossible, Voss said, until someone remembers how to do it. For a brief moment, the chaos froze. Silence. Then the station began to breathe. Pipes exhaled vapor. The floor rippled beneath their feet. The Xylem core pulsed in sync with Voss's heartbeat. Every system now responded to him. The once dead machines, cold, alien, logical, were now alive in a way no one had ever seen. Captain Voss, the reactor's voice said, now sounding almost human, you have awakened the genetic resonance protocol. Voss frowned. The what? Project Origin. Human creation sequence recognized. Awaiting directive. Qua's eyes widened. Directive? It's asking for orders. Voss stepped forward, feeling the weight of 1,000 generations pressing on his shoulders. Then here's your first one, he said softly. Remember who made you. The station's lights flared. A beam of blue light shot into space, cutting across the void like a beacon. All across the galaxy, ancient systems began to stir, silent satellites and derelict human ruins long forgotten. The signal spread like wildfire. Voss watched the horizon of stars shimmer with awakening light. Qua whispered, What have you done? Voss's lips curved into a small, dangerous smile. I didn't do anything. He turned toward the viewport, his eyes glowing brighter. We did. The stars were no longer silent. Every scanner across the Vryth sector was screaming. Ancient signals, human signals, were awakening after millennia of dormancy. They came from derelict moons, frozen colonies, even the dust between systems. thousands of lights blinking into existence like a long-forgotten constellation. Captain Aric Voss stood on the bridge of the half-transformed Xerix Prime, watching the spectacle unfold through the viewing pane. The stars pulsed blue, connected by threads of energy invisible to most eyes, but not to his. His own veins glowed faintly beneath the skin, responding to the rhythm of the network. Behind him, Dr. Qua whispered in disbelief. They were never destroyed. The old human colonies, your kind, buried your technology beneath ours. Voss didn't look away from the window. Not buried. We planted it, like seeds. The alien scientist turned, wide-eyed. You planned this? A genetic trigger? A code written into your own biology? Voss gave a slow, humorless smile. Maybe not us. Maybe the ones who came before. Humanity doesn't think in centuries. Qua. We think in survival. The ship shuddered. Across the hull, blue light pulsed like a heartbeat. The Xerix Prime were becoming something new, half machine, half organism, all alive. In the observation chamber, Voss watched data flood the holo-display. It showed thousands of human beacons activating across the galaxy, all in perfect synchronization. Project Origin, he murmured. It's real. Quar's mandibles clicked nervously. Your species built a network of self-replicating worlds. Not worlds, Voss said. Arcs. Each one carrying a piece of us, genetic libraries, AI constructs, neural memories. The blueprint of what it means to be human. He stepped closer to the screen, eyes narrowing as one signal flashed brighter than the rest. It came from deep in the outer veil, beyond known space, a world glowing like a beacon against the void. That one, he said, that's the core signal. The first one we built. Qua hesitated. You intend to go there? Voss toned, expression unreadable. Wouldn't you, if your past called your name? As the Xerix Prime turned toward the outer veil, the ship itself seemed to respond with enthusiasm. Systems adjusted automatically, almost anticipating Voss's commands. The once-cold corridors now pulsed with warmth, faintly breathing, as if the metal remembered life. Lena, a surviving human technician rescued from the station's lower decks, joined him on the bridge. Her face was pale, her hands trembling as she stared at the glowing patterns along the floor. "Captain," she said softly, "is it really human tech?" Voss nodded. "Yeah, just evolved beyond anything we imagined." She frowned. "Then what's controlling it?" Voss gave a grim smile. "That's what worries me. I don't think anyone is." They reached the edge of the veil 3 days later. Space here didn't look normal. The stars bent, distorted like reflections in water. Time itself felt slower, heavier. And then they saw it. A planet, massive, silver-white, and covered in artificial structures. It wasn't just inhabited, it was alive. Giant hexagonal plates shifted across its surface like scales. The whole world pulsed in sync with the signal. "By the stars," Qua whispered. "That's not a planet. That's a construct." "Built by humans," Voss said, "before we even had faster-than-light travel." Qua stared. "Impossible." Voss smiled faintly. "That's what we're best at." The ship descended into orbit. The moment they entered the atmosphere, every system on board came alive. Panels illuminated. Engines hummed smoother. Even the oxygen levels adjusted automatically. "It's reading us," Lena said, voice shaking. "No," Voss murmured. "It's recognizing us." A beam of light shot from the planet's surface, enveloping the ship in shimmering blue energy. Qua panicked. "We're caught in a tractor field." Voss stood calm, arms crossed. "No, it's docking us." The ship landed gently on what looked like a metallic ocean. The waves rippled with light, forming pathways that led toward a central spire rising into the clouds. The moment the ramp lowered, warm air swept over them, carrying the faint smell of ozone and Earth. Actual Earth. Voss stepped out first, his boots sinking slightly into the shimmering soil. Beneath the light, it looked organic, alive. A voice echoed, smooth and human. "Welcome home, Captain Aric Voss. Your arrival was calculated 72,305 years ago." Qua froze. "It knows your name." "Yeah," Voss said softly. "It should. We built it." The spire's base opened, revealing a vast chamber filled with holographic figures, hundreds of them, all human, all translucent. They looked like ghosts from every era of history, soldiers, scientists, explorers. Each turned to face him. One stepped forward, a woman with short hair and eyes that glowed faintly blue. "We are the archive," she said. "We are every human who ever lived, recorded in the code of life itself." Voss clenched his fists. "Why now? Why wake up now?" The woman's voice softened. "Because the galaxy forgot what humanity means. It needed a reminder." Her gaze sharpened. "And you, Captain Voss, are the signal." Qua stumbled backward. "You're telling me you encoded your consciousness into your DNA? That you stored your souls?" The hologram nodded. "Not souls. Stories. Every failure, every victory, every memory. Humanity's legacy is not one species. It is all that endured through us." Lena whispered, "That's what the test showed. Multiple apex species. We're all of them." Voss stared at the woman. "What happens now?" The archive's eyes brightened. "Now, humanity reclaims what was lost. But first, you must decide what we become next." The spire walls shifted, revealing vast holographic displays of galaxies, each one marked with red zones where humanity had been wiped from records. The galaxy had erased them. But now, the map was filling again with blue. Qua turned to Voss. "They are rewriting history." Voss shook his head slowly. "No, they are restoring it." A deep hum vibrated through the floor. The planet trembled. Systems across the galaxy began sinking to the core's pulse. Qua panicked. "It's spreading again. You'll trigger every dormant construct." Voss looked at the hologram. "Can it be stopped?" The woman smiled faintly. "Would you want it to be?" The captain hesitated. For the first time, uncertainty clouded his eyes. He looked at Lena, at Qua, at the light surrounding them. And then, the planet sky erupted in blue fire. The archive's voice whispered, "The future of humanity begins again." The sky was burning blue. Bolts of light lanced through the clouds, tearing across the horizon like veins of a living god. The ground beneath Captain Aric Voss throbbed with the pulse of power, rhythmic, deliberate, alive. The planet itself was no longer a world. It was awake. The holographic woman who called herself the Archive stood before him, her form flickering between human and machine. Her expression was calm, but her voice carried the weight of 10,000 years. "Humanity has been forgotten, Captain, but through you, it remembers." The air vibrated with a low hum, like the whisper of countless voices layered atop one another. "And now," the Archive continued, "we rise again." Dr. Qua stepped back, tendrils trembling. "Rise again? You intend to reintroduce your species' dominance across the galaxy." The hologram turned toward him, unblinking. Dominance was never the goal. Continuation was. Voss's eyes narrowed. "I've heard that before. Usually right before something big and loud goes wrong." The Archive smiled faintly, a gesture that almost looked human. "You misunderstand. Captain, humanity didn't die. It adapted. Every evolution, every mutation, every bit of genetic chaos you carry. It was preparation, a test, to see if the code could survive without guidance. Survive what? Voss asked. Her eyes flashed brighter. The collapse. The chamber darkened. Images formed around them. Cities burning under alien bombardment, oceans boiling under strange suns, entire colonies erased from the stars. Voss recognized the scenes. They weren't history. They were memories. His jaw tightened. This isn't possible. That's Earth's fall. The archive nodded. We recorded it. All of it. The extinction of your home was not the end. It was a catalyst. Humanity scattered into the void, seeding the stars with remnants of your DNA. Some pure, some altered, all waiting for a trigger. Quiet's voice broke. You turned yourselves into a viral species. The hologram didn't deny it. We called it Project Genesis, a self-sustaining genetic evolution. Humanity would never die. It would change until the universe itself became part of it. Voss felt the cold realization hit him. You're saying I'm one of those changes. Yes, she said. You are the culmination, the final phase. Outside, the planet trembled again. The skies rippled as orbiting ships, automated defense platforms long dormant, began to power on. Lena, standing near the observation window, gasped. Captain, the entire system is moving. Look! From orbit, the blue glow expanded outward like a tide, connecting stars through light bridges of pure energy. Space itself seemed to bend under the network. Qua backed away. You're rewriting the galaxy's communication lattice. The archive turned her gaze to Voss. We are restoring it. By hijacking alien networks. Voss growled. By reminding them who built it first. The planet's hum grew louder, echoing in Voss's skull. His armor lights brightened, the blue veins along his hands flaring like electric fire. Lena's voice trembled. Captain, your vitals, they are spiking again. Voss gritted his teeth. Yeah, I can feel it. The archive stepped closer. You were chosen because your genetic sequence carries the highest resonance. You are a connection to the living galaxy. You are the bridge. Voss's body convulsed as energy surged through him. His vision blurred, stars, planets, and memories flashing behind his eyes. He saw faces, billions of them, humans long dead, all whispering the same phrase. Remember what you are. Qua tried to pull Lena back. We need to sever him from the network before it consumes him. But Voss heard them both as though from underwater. His mind was everywhere. He was on Mars, watching the first colony burn. He was aboard a ship fleeing Earth, clutching a dying child. He was on an alien battlefield, screaming under alien suns. He was humanity, every failure, every victory, every ounce of fury and love that built their history. His voice echoed across the chamber, overlapping with hundreds of others. We didn't come this far to vanish. The lights flared. When the energy subsided, Voss was on his knees, breathing hard. Smoke curled from his armor, and the walls of the chamber glowed with human runes, words that hadn't been spoken in millennia. Unity, survival, evolution. The archive regarded him with quiet reverence. It is done. The sequence has merged. Voss looked up, his eyes glowing faintly blue. What sequence? You are now the control node, she said. The voice of humanity's resurgence. Every signal now flows through you. Lena's face went pale. Captain, that means... Voss stood slowly. Every human colony, every sleeper system, every genetic archive. He looked at the stars through the viewport, his voice turning grim. They are hearing me. And they were. Across distant worlds, long-forgotten human outposts stirred. Machines blinked to life, awakening old defense systems, orbital cities, and AI cores that had waited in silence for eons. The galaxy watched in terror as blue stars began to flare across the void, the unmistakable color of Earth-born technology. Qua clutched his head. You don't understand. Voss, the Vriath High Council will see this as a declaration of war. Voss looked down at his hands, still pulsing with power. Then they'll finally see what humanity looks like when it stops running. The planet rumbled again. The archive tilted her head, as if listening to something unseen. They are coming. Who? Voss demanded. Those who tried to erase you. Outside, the horizon darkened. Dozens of massive alien ships dropped from warp, their hulls bristling with weaponry. Quiet's voice cracked. That's a galactic enforcement fleet. They declared the system quarantined. The archive turned to Voss. Then this is your choice. Captain, do we remain hidden, or do we remind them what it means to face humanity? Voss looked out at the incoming armada. The ghosts of his ancestors whispered behind him, their voices fierce and united. He clenched his fists, opened the planetary shields. Lena stared in disbelief. You're going to fight them? Voss's gaze hardened. No. He stepped forward, eyes blazing like a star. I'm going to teach them. The alien fleet appeared like a wall of death. Hundreds of ships broke through the upper atmosphere, their hulls glinting with silver light. Each one carried weapons designed to burn continents. Weapons forged by species who once swore to erase humanity from the stars forever. Captain Aric Voss stood at the edge of the control spire, watching the sky ignite. The world beneath his boots, Motherworld, pulsed like a living engine, its metallic surface glowing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Around him, the wind carried the whispers of a billion human echoes, memories trapped within the planet's code. They spoke in fragments, voices of warriors, builders, and dreamers long gone. Hold the line. Don't break. We are the spark. He closed his eyes for a moment, breathing deeply. When he opened them again, they burned blue, bright as a newborn ST. Ah! Below, in the command nexus, Dr. Qua frantically recalibrated his scanners. They are charging their plasma arrays. In less than 3 minutes, they'll strike. Lena stood beside him, her voice trembling. Can we raise shields? Qua shook his head. The core energy is linked to Voss now. The world responds only to him. Lena looked toward the spire, where Voss stood motionless beneath the storm of light. Then with better hope he knows what he's doing. High above, the alien fleet spread into attack formatio. N, the Vriath High Admiral, a towering creature with glossy red eyes, watched from his flagship. Humanity's code cannot be allowed to spread. Fire on my mark. The order came, cold and absolute, and the sky rained fire. Dozens of plasma lances streaked downward, bright enough to blind. The atmosphere itself screamed under the assault. Every living thing on the planet froze, waiting for annihilatio. But the world did not burn. The beams stopped midday, frozen, suspended like sculptures of molten glass. The plasma shimmered, folded, and then reversed, shooting back into the heavens like cosmic space. The alien fleet shattered in seconds. Qua's jaw dropped. He redirected the fire. Lena whispered, No, he absorbed it. Voss fell to one knee, electricity crawling up his armor. The power of the bombardment coursed through him, searing his veins with light. The archive's voice echoed softly in his mind. You are the conduit, Captain. The world flows through you. He gritted his teeth, muscles straining. You could have warned me it would feel like swallowing a sun. You can handle it, she replied simply. You're human. He laughed through the pain. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Then he rose. The energy in his body stabilized, humming like a living storm. The planet responded, mountains shifting, metallic rivers rising into the air like serpents of light. From orbit, the scene was unreal, a single figure standing at the heart of a glowing world as entire fleets fell apart around him. On the bridge of the enemy flagship, the High Admiral's voice shook. Impossible! One organism cannot command a biosphere weapon. His advisor whispered, "He isn't a weapon. He's a trigger." As they spoke, the ship's wall began to change, veins of light crawling across their surfaces, rewriting their systems. The archive's influence had spread beyond the planet. The human signal wasn't local anymore. It was infecting the network. The Admiral snarled, "Cut the connection." But it was too late. Every screen on every ship flickered and displayed the same image. Captain Aric Voss, standing in the storm, staring directly at them. "You should have left us forgotten." His voice boomed through their comms. "Now you'll remember us forever." Down on the surface, Qua stared at the readings. The human signal is traveling through their neural web, converting code to biosequences. Their ships are becoming organic. Lena blinked. "He's turning their fleet alive." Qua's tendrils quivered, alive, but loyal to him. In orbit, the alien fleet transformed. Hull plating rippled like skin. Weapons turned into glowing veins of energy. Entire ships pulsed with faint, heartbeat-like rhythms. The fleet no longer moved in formations, but as one colossal organism orbiting the planet, a living armada, bound to Voss's will. He could feel every one of them, their senses, their systems, their fear. And for the first time, he felt pity. He opened a comm line to the surviving alien ships. "You want extinction? That's not what we came back for." Silence followed. Then the voice of the High Admiral broke through, trembling. "What are you?" Voss looked up at the burning sky. "Human. The original problem you never solved." The archive's voice resonated in the air again, calm but distant. "The network has stabilized. The fleet is now under human command. The galaxy is watching." Voss's expression darkened. "Then let them watch." He turned to Qua and Lena. "Get to the ship. Spread the word. Humanity's not a myth anymore." Qua hesitated. "And you?" Voss looked up at the stars where the fleet burned like blue fireflies. "I've got something to finish." The archive materialized beside him, her holographic form flickering with warmth. "You become what we hoped for, the bridge between man and machine, memory and evolution, the living embodiment of our design." Voss smirked. "Don't make me sound like a sermon." "Not a sermon," she said. "A signal. Every world that ever feared humanity is listening. What will you tell them?" He stared into the infinite sky, the reflections of burning ships dancing in his eyes. "Tell them this." He clenched his fist, and the horizon flared white. "We never stopped fighting. We just learned how to outlast a war." The light faded. The enemy fleet was gone, not destroyed, but converted. Their ships drifted peacefully, bearing the same glowing blue veins as the world below. Lena's voice came through the comms, trembling. "Captain, what do we call this?" Voss looked up, his voice low but steady. "Evolution." Silence followed the storm. The stars, once chaotic with war and fire, now shimmered with strange calm. The enemy fleet, the once mighty Wrath Armada, drifted like a constellation reborn. Each ship glowed faint blue, no longer weapons of conquest but vessels of connection. From the planet's surface, it looked as if the heavens themselves were breathing. Captain Aric Voss stood at the top of the spire, the wind tugging at his scorched armor. The blue glow beneath his skin had dimmed but not vanished. He could still feel the pulse, the heartbeat of a world, of a billion dormant memories humming quietly in his mind. For the first time in his life, the galaxy was listening. Dr. Qua and Lena approached him carefully. The networks are stabilized, Qua said, scanning the readings. The various ships are no longer hostile. They are transmitting something new, cooperative signals, shared data structures. Lena frowned. They are talking to each other. Qua nodded. No, to him. Voss glanced up at the horizon where the alien fleet floated in perfect, silent formation. They are adapting. That's what life does. Qua's voice trembled. You've rewritten the laws of biological physics. Captain, you've made communication itself alive. He looked at the human with genuine fear. Do you realize what you've done? Voss turned his gaze on him, steady, unreadable. Yeah, I've done what humanity's always done. Survive by changing the rules. Far above them, the archive's voice echoed once more, soft and omnipresent, like the whisper of wind through glass. The galaxy stands at the edge of rebirth. The species who sought to erase humanity now carry its code within them. The circle is complete. Voss sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. You make it sound poetic. It's not. It's messy. Life always is, the archive replied. She materialized beside him, a holographic figure flickering in the sunlight. You've given them the choice to evolve beyond fear. What they become next is up to them. He studied her. And what about us? You are no longer what you were, she said. You are both memory and maker, flesh and code. Humanity multiplied. Lena stepped closer, voice small. Captain, are you okay? You've barely said a word since the battle. Voss gave a faint smile. I'm fine. Just trying to figure out whether I'm still me. Of course you are, she said. Maybe, he murmured. But I can feel them, every ship, every signal, every echo of what came before us. It's like hearing the ghost of evolution whispering inside your head. He looked up again at the glowing fleet, and they're listening back. A tremor ran through the planet. The blue light of the surface intensified, spreading across oceans of metallic liquid, racing toward the horizon. The world was moving again, preparing. Qua's sensors spiked red. The planet's energy levels are climbing. What is it doing? The archive toned, her holographic form now larger, brighter. It is fulfilling its purpose. The signal you activated has reached every world seeded by humanity's code. They are awakening, all of them. Lena's eyes widened. Every world? There are thousands of them. Millions. The archive corrected gently, each carrying a fragment of the human design. They will rise, remember, and rejoin the whole. Qua stepped forward, panicked. You're not restoring humanity. You're spreading it. You'll overwrite every ecosystem in the galaxy. Voss turned to him, eyes glowing faintly again. No, Doctor, not overwrite. Integrate. In the distance, the sky began to fracture, ripples of light tearing through the clouds. Voss watched as portals opened, showing glimpses of distant stars, planets, and civilizations reacting to the awakening. Alien worlds, some terrified, others in awe, watched blue light creep across their skies. Machines woke from dormancy. Bioforms evolved overnight. Even non-sentient planets began to bloom with alien forests and cities shaped like living organisms. The human code was spreading, not as domination, but as transformation. Qua's voice was sharp with disbelief. You've unleashed a plague of evolution. There's no telling what it will do. Voss smiled faintly. There never is. That's the point. He turned toward the rising light, feeling warmth wash over him. The same warmth that had carried the first humans through the cold void of creation. We don't control life. We inspire it. The archive's form flickered beside him one last time, her voice tinged with something almost like pride. Our creators once believed they were alone. They built me to preserve what was left of them. But now I see you were never meant to endure alone. You were meant to ignite others. Voss looked out at the stars, now webbed with faint, glowing lines connecting world to world, system to system. So what happens now? Now, said the archive, fading slowly into light, the universe evolves. The ground beneath him shifted. The spire retracted into the planet's surface, merging seamlessly with the living metal around it. Voss, Lena, and Qua stood together as the wind rose, carrying particles of glowing dust that shimmered like constellations reborn. Lena looked up, tears in her eyes. It's beautiful. Voss smiled softly. It's human. He stepped forward, touching his hand to the glowing soil. Every species thinks it's the center of the story. We just remembered we are the story. The ground pulsed gently under his hand, like a heartbeat answering him. Above them, the last of the alien fleets, now reborn under the human signal, began to move outward, spreading light to the darkest corners of the galaxy. Each ship carried fragments of Earth's spirit, each one whispering the same message into the stars. We are still here. Epilogue. Centuries later, explorers from distant systems would stumble upon the world once called Mother World. They would find no corpses, no ruins, no sign of war, only a living planet, one that hummed softly with music no one could explain. And above it, etched in orbit on the surface of a single satellite, 3 words glowed in endless blue fire. We remember everything.